I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 284. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello everybody, and how are you on this beautiful September day? I have something a little different for you, but I'm really excited about it. I was talking to one of my colleagues, and she was talking about, because she has a podcast like I do, and as most of you know, or if you don't know, I've had over 1 million downloads, 284 episodes, 4.5 years of consistently, weekly, giving you free content and unbelievable information, and changes as I work it, but giving you all kinds of nuggets on how to handle menopause, how to put weight loss and menopause together, how to be mindful, how to use self-compassion, all the things you've never been taught. I have 4.5 years of this. So one of the things that she shared with me that I'm going to share with you is that she decided to have what she calls her MVPs. And they stand for Most Valuable Podcast. And the reason that she did this, which is the reason I want to do this too, is because I have so many podcasts, people come in and start listening at all different places. They could start today and never heard anything, or they might start in the middle, or they might start at the end, or they might step all over the place. But there are certain podcasts that are downloaded the most. So what I thought I would do is I would share one of those podcasts with you today, which is the most downloaded podcast that I have. And it's on mindful eating and joy eating and fuel eating and explaining things to you in a very, I would say, a very easy way to understand. And because it's one of the most downloaded, if you haven't heard all my podcasts, I think it's really important that you hear this podcast. So this is my MVP one, my most valuable podcast, number 1. And I want you to sit back, enjoy, and listen to it. And I'll see you next week, as I always do. Sit back and enjoy. Hi there. How are you today? Are you driving? If you are, I think it's a wonderful time to become mindful. And you know what that means. That means observing what's going on around you and in you without any judgment, just observing, just noticing. So you can probably hear my voice, and you might be watching yourself respond positively or negatively, hopefully positively. But you're just noticing, not jumping in with a story or emotions. Or you might be noticing all the trees popping. It's spring. You see all the cars driving around you. And maybe you're even noticing what's going on in your body physically. How hungry are you right now? You're just checking in. But it's a really good time to ask yourself, how hungry am I? And where are my emotions? Because this is being mindful too. And I really do love how mindfulness and menopause just go together. They've been around forever, and I believe you must use mindfulness in menopause in order to thrive in your next half of life. And noticing what your body is asking of you and noticing what it's not wanting anymore, that's imperative. And then we're using eating as a check-in with your body. And well, that's my brilliant idea. I love that. I love using eating as a way to see what's going on inside of you every single time you sit down to eat. So anyway, what I want to talk about today is a little bit more on the 4 types of eating, because the last episode we did, I explained them to you. But now I want you to have a better understanding of them and how you apply it and how you can use it to help yourself when you're eating. And remember, you can go to drdebbutler.com/change and you can get my companion workbook that has all my notes and all my tools that I'm using. And especially right now when I'm talking about the 4 types of eating, you can follow along with me or you can use them later on to refresh your memory. So please, if you're sitting at your computer right now and you're not driving, go ahead and download it. Go to drdebbutler.com/change. It'll be sitting right in front of you. And you just have to put your name in there so we know where to send it and it's yours. So the 4 types of eating we talked about were fuel, joy, fog, and storm. And our goal is, the lingo that we're using in our goal is to choose fuel eating most of the time and to eat between the twos is really where our sweet spot is. And why? Because you're eating food your body requires, which is the fuel food, and you're eating just enough to fill your stomach up all day long. And if you did this all day, every day, you most assuredly, I guarantee you, you would have the most natural weight for you. But what do you need to think in order to do this is what I want to talk about today. So I just don't want to give you facts and have you try to figure it out. I'm giving you the tools that I use, and then I want to coach you using these tools, because that's exactly what I would do with any private client is I would teach a tool and then I would have them use it and come back and talk to me about it. So since you can't really talk back to me right now, or at least we haven't figured out a way to do that, but if you were my private client and we're sitting together right now, here's some of the things that we would be talking about. With fuel eating, here's the problem that could happen with fuel eating is what you tell yourself about needing to be fueling 90% of the day and eating between the twos. If you tell yourself, I have to eat this way and I can't have anything else other than fuel food, I think that's going to lead you to feeling deprived and sort of being left out of the party. In fact, many of my clients have thought many, many times when they've tried to change their eatings or to eat quote unquote good, that the fun was over. I know I've thought like this, and I've heard it from so many clients that I realize that it's a very pervasive, dangerous thought to have, but you got to know you're thinking it. So if you are like me, or like many of my clients who might have that thought that if you are fuel eating all the time, you're not going to have any fun, then this is going to be really helpful for you. So if you're thinking this is not going to be any fun, it's going to lead to a negative feeling, a feeling of deprived. And when you feel deprived, my guess of what you're going to do is not eat fuel foods. And of course, if you're eating quote unquote fun foods or bad foods, the result is going to be, of course, that you're carrying too much weight again. And it's exactly what you don't want. What can you think, which is what I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to help you choose fuel foods? Listen, I know I like to have fun in my life. And if eating right or eating fuel foods means no fun in my life, what do you think I might do with thinking like that about food? Do you think I'm going to be eating fuel food? Or do you think I'm going to be choosing a food that I equate with fun? I wonder what that might be. But here's the truth as I see it now. And feel free to try these thoughts on for the right feeling. For me, choosing and eating beautiful fuel foods is what I most want for myself because it allows me to have fun in my life. It allows me to enjoy having a body that I'm proud of and that I enjoy taking care of. And the more I enjoy taking care of my body, the more it takes care of me. It's not fun to overeat non-fuel foods and feel like crap for hours or days. This isn't fun. Don't you agree? What we're telling ourselves is fun is a lie Because what we really want is we want to have fun with our bodies. And the way that we can have fun with our bodies is by allowing our body to be thin, healthy, and fit. That is what I call fun. But in the moment of not paying attention, your mind might be thinking that it's missing out. But being the mindful person that you are becoming, and you catch that sneaky thought and see it for what it really is, it's sneaky and so not true. So really, when I sit down to eat a fuel meal, there is nothing about it that I don't enjoy. There's nothing about it that's not fun. I also enjoy paying attention and stopping at a plus too. I enjoy it. Why do I enjoy it? Because I feel great when I'm done and I'm ready for anything. That is fun. And when and if you choose to think like this, it will create a feeling of confidence, and eating fuel food and losing weight almost feels effortless, because it is. And the reason it feels effortless is because there's no resistance, because it's what you want to do. It's what you think is going to benefit you, and you believe it with all your heart. Does this make sense? You think, hey, this is easy, because when you're thinking those kind of thoughts, this is easy, that it creates a flow, a positive thought cycle. And we're not even talking about joy yet, but really in the fuel food eating category, when you're mindfully thinking before you sit down to eat, it changes everything. Somebody could tell you all the right foods to eat, and you know all the right foods to eat. But if it's coming from outside of you, what you should eat, and you feel like it's not really gonna be a positive thing, you're not going to do it. You're going to get the result that you've been getting, which is gaining weight. And all that really needs to happen is to be fuel eating on a regular basis, which is what you're going to be doing. You know now that what you're creating up in your mind is what's going to help you choose fuel foods on a regular basis. What you think creates a feeling, and that feeling creates the action, and that action creates the result. That thought of thinking how beautiful it is to feed yourself these kind of foods, and then creating this feeling of pride. And what you do with pride is you eat fuel foods on a regular basis, and the result is a healthy, fit body. I like it. I hope this makes sense to you. Now let's take that second category that I talked to you about last week, and let's expound upon that a little bit more. I like that word, expound. That makes me sound smart. Oh, anyway. So the second category is joy eating. And I told you before, it's my favorite. I'll tell you again, it's my favorite. And I think the reason that it's my favorite is because it helps you in your mindset realizing that you can eat anything that you want. What you choose is very different, but knowing that you can have anything you want, I think is freeing. And I think the more that you also have this mindset when you're fuel eating, that choosing beautiful, healthy food is fun, really helps, because it makes you feel so good about your choices. But with joy eating is I can eat anything I want. And if your joy foods are anywhere near like mine, which are potato chips, I told you, Fritos, Cheetos, get all the orange stuff all over your fingers. I just love those. Your joy foods may be more on the sweet side, not me so much, but being able to consciously eat those foods and stop the minute you're enjoying it, I will tell you, takes being mindful. And this does take practice. But I also believe if you choose your joy foods 10% of your day, that means 10% of your day if you're trying to lose weight, and 20% of your day if you're trying to maintain your weight, I think you can still be extremely healthy. And really, this is what I call moderation. And I'm a moderate girl. I like to teach people moderation. And I think it's the easiest thing for your mind to grab onto. And many of my clients in the beginning think that most of their joy comes from all foods. And they find themselves needing to eat a lot more than 20% of joy food a day. Now, here's the difference between joy eating 10 to 20% of your day and joy eating more than 20% of your day. And this is what I will tell my clients alike. And I even ask this question, and you'll even see it in my companion workbook when I talk about joy and joy eating, is that I want you to decide what percentage of joy eating you do in a day. How much joy do you get from food in a day? And when it's more than 20%, when you're choosing more than 20% joy foods a day, what I think about you is that you're trying to find joy in food when joy comes from inside. It's an inside job. It's not an outside job. To enjoy food is great, but to think that it's your life, not so great. So here we're minimizing how much joy eating we do a day, but we're enjoying every single bite. So last week, I wanted you to notice what you were doing with these categories and where you saw yourself eating. Did you see yourself fogging more, storming more, fueling more, or joy eating more? So what I want to talk a little bit more here is that if you found yourself choosing a lot more than 20% of your day of joy foods, then I have some really good news for you. And we're going to talk a lot about joy in the future because I really believe that the more joy-filled your life is from within, the less joy you need from outside of you, especially from non-nutritious food. But let's face it, there are some pretty darn joyful, non-nutritious junk foods out there. And I think you can embrace it a small percentage of your day, as long as you enjoy every bite. But I also noticed that once I started thinking like this, that I could eat these joy foods and that I could have what I wanted, the less I cared about eating any joy food. So your mind is like beyond powerful, much, much more powerful than any food. And I'll repeat that. Because for many of my clients, and you might be the same, planning your food every day might be helpful. Planning your joy foods every day may be helpful so that you're less impulsive in the beginning. But one of my clients that I'm working with is really beside herself with joy right now, internal joy. It's coming from inside of her. And why? Because she told me in the beginning of our sessions that she could not trust herself to have gooey butter cake in her house. She'll eat the whole thing in a day, she said. She says she'll buy it and she'll go and she'll have a bite and then she'll have another bite and then she'll have another bite. And by the end of the day, the whole cake's gone. So she says she can't trust herself. And we spent a lot of our session talking about this with her. And I helped her realize that she can trust herself around a lot of very difficult things in her life. She is brilliant beyond, I'm telling you, another one of my brilliant clients. But she can't trust herself with cake. But that as long as she continues thinking this way, she will continue to feel out of control and treat gooey butter cake as an adversary. So, of course, you know what I told her to do? I told her to go out that day and buy her very favorite gooey butter cake and use it as her joy food. And remember, a joy food means 10% of your day. And when you eat it, you enjoy every single bite. And I can tell you, she was a little shaky about this. Well, a week later, when we got back together, she was so elated with herself. She was filled with joy. And this is the reason. She came back and the first thing she says to me is, half of that gooey butter cake is still sitting there. And she said, and I don't care. And she also said that she thoroughly got to enjoy pieces of that gooey butter cake in a very mindful way, enjoying every single bite. And she feels powerful. And guess what? She is learning to trust herself around food, around cake. Just like she trusts herself in every other area of her life, now she's learning to trust herself around food. And every time she ate the cake mindfully and joyfully and left it, it had less and less friction with her. And after just 1 week, she didn't care about it anymore. And she knew now that she could trust herself. And now that she can take that thought and really believe it, that she can trust herself around cake, guess what the outcome is? She can trust herself around cake, and half the cake is still sitting there. So she thinks the thought, I can trust myself around cake. She feels confident. She eats only what she wants. And the result is much of the cake still sits there. And she can trust herself. It is a result of her thinking. She thinks she can trust herself, and she can. So gooey butter cake, now she thinks if she wants some, she'll have some. This creates confidence in her and the way she treats gooey butter cake. She treats gooey butter cake just like for what it is. It's a piece of cake without all the hoopla. And what do you think the result of this thinking will lead to? And if you're thinking a naturally thin, healthy body, you're right. So as you're watching yourself during the day eating, remember, you can joy eat by itself, like this example, but you can also fuel eat and joy eat. You can combine them. For instance, you can eat a fuel food and you can add French fries, like I usually do, or a dessert. You just want to make sure that you're eating between the twos for your fuel food. And you want to make sure that when you're eating any joy food, you enjoy every bite. And I find that when I'm really enjoying every bite, I really don't tend to eat as much as if I weren't paying attention, or if I were telling myself I shouldn't be eating that. That's the joy eating category. And I'll be talking about it more and more each time, because you can see there is such room for freedom in that when you think about it. And the more you allow yourself to think that you can eat whatever you want, I think the outcome of that is you don't care as much because it doesn't have all that power behind it. Okay, everyone, I'm going to stop here, and I want you just to really think about your joy eating and your fuel eating and all the things that you can be thinking that's going to help you in those categories. And next time, I'm going to talk more about storm eating and fog eating. And also, if you feel like you're getting stuck or you feel like you need more guidance, I would love to offer you a free mini session with me where I might be able to help you either get unstuck, or maybe you just need some coaching. And all you need to do, if that is an option for you, is go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. And we can set up a time and we can talk. For now, I want you to watch yourself. I want you to be mindful and pay attention to what's going on around you and what's going on inside of you. And I'll see you next week. If you've been loving my podcast, please, please, please subscribe. And also, please, please, please review if you're loving it. The way you heard about it is the way many people hear about it. They Google it or they look for it. And the only way that it pops up is by who reviews it. So if you're loving it, let's pass on the good word and the good news. Thank you.